It is no January the 21st, 2015. I'm Dana Durnford, also known as the nuclearproctologist.org. And we'll bring up the moniker. And so we want to do court updates, and what we discover now is that first, let me talk about Fukushima for anybody that's not familiar. Let's get everything up to speed before we jump down. Hi, everybody in the chat room. She's rocking and a rolling. Sweet. Let's start off with some basic stuff before we get into the really fun stuff. And we got lots of that one tonight. If a SLAPP suit was all I had to worry about, after these monsters get through with me, life would be pretty good. Fukushima had a massive earthquake. It shook the country for 6 minutes. It was considered 7,000 times worse than the Christchurch, New Zealand. It was 1,000 times worse than Haiti. Imagine being shaken for 6 minutes. And imagine that your favorite object in your house, table or your cabinet or your stereo system or your computer, was being shaken, or your baby, for 6 minutes. How would you feel? Violently shaken at around 2 to 3 Gs, and you can't stand up after 1 G. We've seen the buildings in Tokyo far, far away from the epicenters. You had a tsunami rush through the country. Now, a tsunami didn't just come in and hit the country. No, there was 180 mile of a shelf line dropped down. That was a big tsunami. That's why it done that kind of damage. It took 2,000 square miles of the country and whipped it out to sea, the size of Texas. It went up to 10 miles inland, and it covered approximately 400 kilometers, up to 10 miles inland. It ripped it and turned it into a wood chipper. The nuclear power plant in Fukushima, in particular, blew up and melted down. This is Unit 1. It blew up and melted down. That's worse than Chernobyl many, many, many times over, Unit 1. Unit 2 was the same thing. It blew up and melted down. And now we know there is no inventory left inside of Unit 2. Unit 3, you don't have to be a genius to work it out. We hope, because you can see it's nothing left. And so the reactors were on the roof, also in the storage pools. Just because they weren't in the reactor don't mean they ain't frightening. They are just as bad as a melted reactor, a live reactor. This is Unit 4. This is the one they come out and lied to you, right? They took everything off the roof, and then they told you the roof looked like that, inside of that. And they told you the fuel pool looked like that, and that inside of that. But they tore everything off the building. You can see by the side of it, there's nothing left. So 4 major lies were told to you. And that was perpetrated on purpose to deceive you, manipulate you, and deceive you. And so that lie is ongoing nonstop. All right, okay. I'm kind of with you so far, Dana. So what we done, and this is just a short version for tonight for everybody so they can get a handle on it, was we took a crowdfunded operation and we built this operation from scratch. Everything you see there is built from scratch. And those arrows are representations of 15,000 miles of coastline that we covered, and we stated extended periods where each of those arrows are to. They are not by no means just limited to where I was. So 260 days on the ocean, 15,000 miles in a little Zodiac with another one on the roof. And you see that this is the Louise Narrows and the Queen Charlotte Islands. And that is at the top left-hand side of your page, and that little island you see up there, a bunch of islands on the inside. But anyway, in this one narrow, all these pictures I'm going to show you, instead of looking like this, is why it's coveted and renowned around the planet and why people travel from all over the world to hang out there. It is now void of vegetation. So instead of looking like that, it's naked. Okay. So instead of being rich, that whole shoreline, Louise Narrows, is naked in the Queen Charlotte's to Haida. So instead of being very rich, now there's 5,600 indigenous species, or 6,500 or so invertebrates without the backbones that also live in that zone. Well, you never know looking at that, but that's what it used to look like pre-Fukushima. Okay, let's keep going for a few moments and we'll get into some really interesting stuff here coming up. So instead of looking like this, the whole coastline was eradicated. This picture here is emblematic of anywhere on the coastline, but these pictures I'm showing you tonight are all from the same spot, pre-Fukushima, post-Fukushima. Post-Fukushima, pre-Fukushima in the same spot. Pre-Fukushima rather, post-Fukushima, same spot. Pre-Fukushima, and you get up to 75 leatherback or leather starfish per square meter, and now it's empty, the whole coastline. Instead of getting 500 of these per square meter, and so if they get, like you get a storm there and they get smashed up on the rocks or tumbling over, and you get 500 pieces of one of them, that's 500 more. They'll just reseed themselves, clone themselves. They are missing. And the urchins, I can normally never land my Zodiac anywhere on that coastline. And here you can see the Zodiac in the same spot along the coastline because I don't got to worry about that. But we covered it. It's all about the nuclearproctologist.org, and you can find all that documentation. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. And so, I forget the name there for a second. Strategic lawsuits. And let's bring that up. I got to get rid of my extra stream that I got going there. Dina, anytime you're ready. I got to readjust everything. Just give me a moment because that's just the way it is. I'm not Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or whoever, but I got the same equipment. And hi to everybody. Let me get rid of the stream that's going right there because otherwise we got two streams, one coming in, one going out, and that might not work well for you people out there. So what I just showed you is really important, extremely important, to the story we're going to tell tonight. Hi everybody. And I'm not going to try to get through everybody because I don't want to get off track. And so please forgive me. And let's jump down the rabbit hole for a little tiny bit so I can explain to you. A strategic lawsuit against public participation. Now, I wasn't hit with a lawsuit. I just got back from court. But what they done was, it was a judicial SLAPP. And so a strategic lawsuit against public participation, think about that one, is a lawsuit that is intended to censor. And we got the court records showing them censoring me. The University of Victoria first tried to censor me January 28, 2014. And the University of Victoria Security Department came after me too and tried to censor me. They put a police complaint in against me on January 28, 2014 at almost 10 o'clock in the morning. And Constable Crooks, K-R-U-K, from the Sandwich Police Department, decided there wasn't anything there to charge me with. And so they monitored me right up until September the 2nd, 2014. So the January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. They figured they had something on me, and so they reported it. But that didn't work either, obviously, because I didn't get arrested. So they kept going until they finally got one in July of 2015, kept monitoring me, and then another one in October. And then in November, they had me arrested because they couldn't get any more and they were getting tired of monitoring me. They were tired of being on a fishing expedition. And so the UVic Law School was brought in because their security at UVic got involved. And so the law school, of course, has to come in and say, what can you do here and what's legal and where can we step and where can't we step. But they got involved right through this because the complaints were they were contacting the university itself. So that's corporate personhood now, because there's no one at the university. The university, you can't go to jail for something you do because you're a corporate personhood. You're protected under this illegal amendment to the slavery laws that was snuck in increments over decades by corrupt lawyers. And they changed it to give corporations human rights. So UVic has corporate personhood, and it has the law school there. And so my judge and the prosecutors and lawyers and everybody else involved in this went to UVic to get their licensings to be lawyers or to get reclassified for BC, right? And so they work with UVic lawyers all day long. It's unbelievably inbreed. Now, what makes this really interesting is the police department is a private police department, it's Saanich Police Department. And a strategic law, so it silenced critics by burdening them with the cost of legal defenses until they abandon their criticism or opposition. And the typical SLAPP plaintiff does not normally expect to win the lawsuit. The plaintiff's goals are accomplished if the defendant succumbs to fear, intimidation, mounting legal costs, simple exhaustion. I got to get a hotel each time. I got to take a ferry, travel across a big island, find a hotel, find something to eat, and then you can't sleep in the hotel. You got to be in courtroom first thing the next morning. You got to get through the traffic jams in a strange city, which is the modus operatus of the typical SLAPP suit. And repeated and abandons the criticism. In some cases, repeated frivolous litigation against the defendant may raise the cost of directors and officers' liability insurance for that party, interfering with their ability to operate. It may intimidate others from participating in the debate, and a SLAPP is often preceded by legal threats, right? And once again, what I told you was the legal threats, they were going to the police repeatedly and monitoring me full time. They were contacting the hotels I was staying with on the Fukushima Expeditions for Life, and we have copies of some of those emails, and we have the other owners telling me, so I can, if I had to, I can call up on that. 16 lawyers turned me down, and I'm paying cash. And so I gave up on that, and I'm defending myself. Now the court is going to have to appoint a lawyer to me. Now if I took a plea bargain, I can get off with probation, but I'm not allowed to talk about the two nuclear pukes from UVic and Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. They're the two spokespeople for North America. I'm not allowed to criticize them or talk about them, and I have 11 other restrictions against me. But I have never tried to call them. I have never tried to approach them. I had at one time wanted to have a protest at UVic, right? And that was justifiable, and I'm sure they complained about that one. I'm sure that was a motivator for them. How dare someone criticize us? And so we'll use our law school to bludgeon you into silence. Now, most people that would work on it pretty good. It's cost a small fortune to get this far. They also attacked my equipment and killed my computer. And when I got out of jail, they had killed my site, right, with 4 strikes on it, on my YouTube channel, so I couldn't live stream no more. Now, you got to think about when my first court appearance, Constable Steve Crooks, KRUK from the Saanich Police Department, he's not a real police officer, he's military, most likely by the looks of it. And Victoria is the capital of British Columbia, and it's all government down there. And you can tell he's just a whiny, snivelly little bootlick and cheerleading lapdog for UVic to hang out with the little girlies down there, right? You can tell he's just he has never raised a stick in his life or used a gun in his life outside of a firing range. And he's just a pansy. You can tell 100%. Told me he watched 500 hours of my footage. And I said, you never got out of Dodge. You know, oh, I can't use my personal. I said, that's because you're a lying sack of shit, right? Dina. But think about the Benghazi video I got on my site. Go back and look at that later. There's a Benghazi video. Now, I got a court order. A court order. They never got illegal strikes on my account from while I was in jail, no. I had a court order to take the video down. And took the video down. Then I re-rendered it and put a little, I got in front of it and explained why I'm putting it back up. Within about 4 hours of me getting the email. But boom, and had it back up, and that video's still up on my site. Now, I never got no court order. They could have got a court order to take those videos down if they were threatening, right? Now, normally they would have come after me with a lawsuit, a SLAPP lawsuit, see? But when they do that, they got to give a whole lot more detail and information than what they gave me. Now, at court yesterday, for the disclosure, they want 2 days. But they only gave me 8 pages. And they're based up on 2 8-second clips. So I haven't got a disclosure what the hell they're talking about. Nobody knows what they're talking about. But they need two days. So that was meant to try to enforce it upon me, scare me, that they're going to come in and overwhelm me with all kinds of information. But the names that they use for the institution, most of the names for witnesses, they don't even give them names. There's no names there. How can I defend myself against people like that? Well, obviously the way everything is done here is not. And so the day in court, the first day in court, the first appearance in Victoria, Constable Steve Crooks approached me. My name wasn't on the register to show up in the courtroom. It was 9 a.m. I'm supposed to be in the courtroom. He walks up to me and says, "Are you Dana Durnford?" Right after that, he told me he watched 500 hours of my footage, but he didn't know who I was. So anyway, I said, well, I'm supposed to go see a judge here, and I'm not really interested in talking to a bootlegging cheerleading lapdog, particularly one as vile looking as you. That didn't dissuade him. Now he said, well, I didn't submit your information. He said, I was hoping you would come down to the police station. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be in courtroom, but he wants me to come down to the police station and put my version of the events on the video. And so everything about it is 100% fishing expedition, right? They started on me on the January 28, 2014. They put several complaints in, but they never got a charge out of any of them. And then he came after me with this version of a SLAPP lawsuit. And everything, and then the media come out, said they watched my video where I said I'm charged with criminal harassment of nuclear pukes, but the headline was I was charged with uttering death threats, which I'm not. Right? And you go over to E&E News and read the comments on that headline where they put me up there too. They put a whole lot of supporting links down below for me. Dana's not the only one out there criticism. I'm not the only one out criticizing UVic or Woods Hole. But they came after me is because I put all the documentation usually in the video. Now tonight what we're doing is we're explaining the court system, so we're not going through all the. Political libel is another one. Now, strategic lawsuits, here's a really important one about it. You go down to characteristics. It's the various abuses, uses of this law, including political libel, which is what I was showing you, right? Political libel up here. But hang on a second. This is really interesting. Criticism, political action, or views of others have ceased to exist in most places, but persist in some jurisdictions. Notably, British Columbia, where I'm told. And Saanich has already lost the case of by trying to use a SLAPP lawsuit against another plaintiff. So these people have done this before. But what you're looking at is also what's known as a star chamber. And star chamber is where the good old boys club has more power than everybody else in the country. And so they have their own courts and their own police kind of system. And that if they don't like something about you, even though there's not a law there, they can still apply a law that's called like a secret law. Right? So they're not the same as Canadians. But then again, your justice system in Canada swore allegiance to the Queen first. And so these laws are based upon the Queen. Right? These are meant to safeguard the Queen's assets, is another way of looking at it. And another way of getting rid of political pundits or political players that are no longer playing for them. And so they have the power to supersede. And it was meant originally to prosecute elites that the lower system felt it couldn't handle, right? And these people were the untouchables, so to speak. We still have that here in Canada, and Victoria happens to be the heart of it. And that's where they took me out of my jurisdiction down into their jurisdiction. And so it's all about intimidation of you. They know they can't intimidate me. They know they're not going to get one over on me anyway. Good luck on that one. I just done the whole coastline, showed an extinction event. Now what they do is they went out and also looked at the radiation and said there's nothing out there, no damage. But they didn't go into the tidal zones. They don't even mention the tidal zones. And that they use their website when I was on the ocean to teach their readers to come over and knock down my videos. That's right. The people that got me charged are the same people who were the people that were calling the hotels, most likely. It had to be them, because they were monitoring me the whole time. They knew everything I was doing. That's in the court records, right? And they knew where I was going by the video. I was telling everybody where I was going. These were the people that were spying on me. These were the people that were going in the community. They were taking pictures of me in hotel hallways. They stalked me in my very home here. There's pictures on the internet of my home. And all I done was told you the truth. All I done was explain to you about how the radiation, not like a banana, not like a potato chip, not like walking in the sunshine, but I didn't count so much on these vicious thugs from Sandwich Police Department and from the University of Victoria and Woods Hole Oceanographic and the FBI worked together with YouTube to get YouTube to censor me without a warrant. And then they censored me all the way up until they couldn't censor me anymore. I'm coming ashore, all the expeditions are over, going to produce a documentary, going to go and do lectures. Okay, let's hit them with SLAPP. We'll get rid of all of his money, we'll break him. We'll scare him, we'll terrify him, we'll get him arrested. They didn't count on the hounds of Fukushima though, did they? Getting in their faces. Over 60 articles come out and bashed these people, legitimately. So I'm up against strategic, so there's been like quite a few unsuccessful SLAPPs here in British Columbia. 2 British Columbia cases of SLAPPs. So it's well known what these friggers are like. How twisted and demented and out of touch with reality, and how they just want to keep their job for another couple of years while every whale disappears and all the marine life is gone, all the biota is gone. Right? We went out and showed that, but they don't talk about that. They don't talk about, oh, we only found a couple of becquerels per cubic meter in the water. But there's so much more in your drinking water, we're not going to talk about that stuff. Right? Because when you think about your drinking water, there's your drinking water coming up. At some point, Dana. And let me go back to my drinking water. Anytime you're ready, Dana. Look, I'm trying to get on it, man. So look at your drinking water, tritium, 700 becquerels a liter. Look at that. But Woods Hole and UVic can only find a couple of becquerels a liter. But here's your drinking water standards in Canada. Pre-Fukushima studies were just a couple of becquerels per cubic meter, or cubic meter of water, say. That study you're looking at there. And so pre-Fukushima studies of tritium in drinking water, tritium in estuaries and groundwater, and tritium and everything else shows that it was only 1 or a couple of becquerels per cubic meter. And now we see 7,000 becquerels a liter, 7 million a cubic meter. And so they got to stop people like me from existing. And there really is nobody like me out there that's doing the things I do, that are able to come out and with so much data, incredible, stupid, unbelievable, sickening amount of data, and run into these creatures head on. They can't deal with it. They were outraged. They called the police and said, they're talking about me. That's literally what he got there. Every time that he found out I was talking about him, he called the police and said, he's going to talk about me again tonight. We got to stop this. That was the UVic professor. I can't mention names because I'll be arrested. That's what SLAPP lawsuit is all about. It's all about censorship, intimidation. It's all about liquidating your assets, trying to stay out of jail. It's all about instilling fear in other people who support you. Right? It's not about fear. There will be no editorial from our station manager tonight because he's in jail from his last editorial. So I love SLAPP suits, strategic lawsuits against public participation. It's meant to get rid of dissent. It's meant to and equate sedition with it, and equate terrorism with it. And they did. They put me on a terrorist watch list. They were checking packages at Woods Hole for bombs because of me. In order, right? They just made the claim, and then it's like, you know, the secret fly list or the secret no gun list or the secret censorship list on the internet where sites are blacklisted but show up to people that are adamant to find it, but the other ones can't find it accidentally. or the links to it don't work, right? And that's what they got done with me. In just pure desperation. Because they don't want me talking about them. They don't want people to realize that these are lying, disgusting maggots and parasites. That these are vultures. That these are feeders upon your loved ones and your children and your misery. That there's a whole industry set up to liquidate your assets. To pay for your cancer with chemical concoctions. With fucking voodoo. And that they went through hours and hours of my video and said I was vulgar. How did that become a crime? Did you ever hear any of these people in their own homes, like the judges or the prosecutor? I can guarantee you they're the same as you or anybody else. So strategic lawsuits against public, nag publicly about any of my corporate clients, and I'll slap a SLAPP suit on you for defamation. Then I'll set depose paper you to debt, run up the cost until you're on your knees begging for me to drop the suit, which I do if you swear to shut the fuck up. So this is a typical UVic Woods Hole attitude. Yes, I think I have good people skill. What kind of idiotic question is that? They don't understand reality. They're not living in reality. They're protected by this network. Their job is to go out and tell the lie, sell that lie, that there's no radiation from Japan. And well, if you think about it, right, if you think about the difference is, Chernobyl only lasted 10 days. Chernobyl was equal to 400 Hiroshima bombs. And Chernobyl was 1/3 the size of any of the reactors. Chernobyl, over 1 million dead. That's 2,500 translated peer-reviewed academic studies, republished after 30 years at the New York Science Academy. Fukushima, they say none of that. Fukushima, 4 full meltdowns. Fukushima, you get free home if you're pregnant. In Chernobyl, it's abandoned. Now, it's not just me, but if you look at what's missing from all the studies now, the phytoplankton, the basis of the food, the oxygen, the carbon sequestering chain is missing. The krill is missing. That's the basis of the food chain for, not the basis of the food chain, but that's what the conversion for the basis of the food chain, that is for the migratory animals, like birds and mammals and whales and seals and sea lions and predatory marine saltwater animals. The anchovies, the sardines, the squid, the herring, the salmon, now confirmed 3 years in a row, disappeared, failed. The snow is missing from the mountains of British Columbia, probably the most terrifying thing imaginable. Let me get rid of that for you. And I'll come over and say hi to everybody here in a second. And SLAPP was, there was an anti-lawsuit about SLAPP. I will not file frivolous lawsuits. And so this is, Sanich has already done this, right? So I'll come back over and say hi to everybody for a few minutes. And then I like saying hi to people. I know some people don't like it when I do that. Sue me. Not with a SLAPP though. Please, no more slaps. I don't care, bring them on. That's how I learn. That's how I get bigger and stronger. I eat evil. And I get stronger each time. Hi, Strontium. Atom. Just cruising. Hi, everybody. M. Thirst, Mickey, Neff Killer, Joe, Clint, Shawnee Ken. Hi, Elaine. Oomp. I hope I got that right. That's a pretty tough word. Nash. Clint. Hey, everybody. Let me just make sure I try to say hi, Kate. Kate. I know Jan is out there somewhere, I'm sure. Or she will be later. Jan Brooks, Miss Milky the Clown. Oh, there she is. How often does that happen, I wonder? I happen to say I don't see her there, but she's over there. There she is. Hi, Jan. And Gabriel. And Thirst. We're getting through them. I think we got everybody, did we? I'll just have a quick little cruise. And I never brought anybody up. Let me bring everybody up very quick. Not that you're going to see it with Smarty Pants in the way. That's not going to help anything, Dana. Dana, get with it. Okay, here we go. No, he didn't. Here, try that again one more time. There you go. Hi, everybody. Lori. Hi, Lori. And did I miss anybody? And so this is a really important video tonight. I think we got everybody. Let's come back up to the top. Just in case if somebody showed up, tried to say hi at the last second. Not that I expect people to sign up and get an account. But we did pay the extra money so you wouldn't get advertisement. Cost $600 for the site because we had 4 strikes on my YouTube account when I got out of jail, illegal strikes, to take down that account. We couldn't live stream. Hi, Jerry Ann. There you go. Pam. Chuck. Anybody else? Mindy. And anybody I didn't get? Yeah. Hi, everyone. Joseph. Yeah. Hi, folks. Let's keep going. We're burning through the minutes. And see, an hour, I always stop at an hour because an hour to me, like most people, 10 minutes is a long video, but an hour to me is a short video. And heads are going to roll for what they're doing to me. Legally. Illegally. I said legally. Don't roll out the SWAT team. David said heads are going to roll. That's a threat. We're going to go get on a SWAT team him. He's crippled. Make sure you stomp him to death. Let's keep going. That's what they're doing to me. They're trying to stomp me to death with these bizarre, freaky versions of law. Your Honor, I would have concentrated on the facts, right? That's what they said in court yesterday, but they weren't in their favor. That's what they were saying. It's freedom of speech, not fear to speak. Right? And so SLAPP lawsuit was meant to destroy and eviscerate democracy in every sense of that word, right? So the judge can say, your point about free speech is well taken, and shut up. Boom. You're out of here and lock you up, throw you away. And so they're asking for 10 years, up to 10 years in jail for me. And so they really want to get rid of me. I'm stressed out. I'm going to have a cigarette. And I know some people don't like that. You have a cigarette that don't have 7,000 chemicals or whatever the case may be. But like I get so many people saying, Dana, I don't like you bending over, sit up straight. Dana, don't lean, don't have your shoulders forward, have your shoulders back. Dana, stick your chest out. Dana, get your chin up. Dana, don't tilt your head. Dana, don't say this. Dana, don't say that. Dana, don't do this. Dana, don't do that. I don't fucking come into your world and tell you to do anything. And they say, oh, Dana, I can't follow you if you're going to do stuff like that. Well, you know, try fucking off somewhere. Not coming back. You can put up with it with anybody else on the planet, but you can't put it up with me. You can go watch any old Hollywood movie, and you did all your fucking life, put up with all that nonsense, but you can't put up with me because I smoke a cigarette without 7,000 chemicals. That's my way of talking about it. Having one cigarette and talking about the 7,000 chemicals and why you can't quit smoking. Just to get that out there too, to show you how twisted and demented and freaky these people really are. Yeah, that applies to me too. That applies to you for the time being. If you don't like it, I can't help you. But I'm not going to change my world to accommodate everybody on the planet because I'm no longer me. I'm no longer Dana. If I can't be Dana, I'm no longer effective. If I got to be somebody that you want me to be, maybe you should reevaluate your own fucking life. Censorship causes blindness. That's what a SLAPP lawsuit is meant to do. It's only meant to do one thing. It's meant to be used by people as a last-ditch effort, right? And like the court documents I was showing you earlier, there's only like 7 pages, but it needs 2 days disclosure. That's trying to intimidate me and threaten me, see? I don't care, I want 4 days. Have you got any idea how much shit I got on my computer I want to share with you fucks? That's going to cost me a fucking fortune. So in one sense, they might win. Because I'm going to have to burn everything I got right now to fucking, excuse the language, to keep up what I'm doing, to stay out of jail, or just to deal with these fuckers because I got no choice. If there's a storm and I can't get the ferry over, I'm going to have to take the Zodiac and run across in it. And rent a car, just run across, right straight across, only 17 miles. Not 150 miles to fucking University or the Victoria. Why would anybody do that? I just can run across to Comox or Courtney or Campbell River, rent a car and drive down to court. If the ferry won't go, my boat will go. I just done 15,000 miles of the coastline. I can handle the inside passage no matter how hard she blows. But if I don't show up, I go to jail. They'll come and arrest me. That's what they want to happen. And having it so far away, that's what is intended to happen. And I have so many obstacles every time. And there's only one way I can do it. I got to bring someone with me, and I got to burn money to go do it. But I don't leave the hotel room. We drive down, get a hotel room, get something to eat. Something $40 in food that time for 2 days. That was pretty good. Only ate one meal a day each time. Big whoop. But then the hotels are not cheap. The ferry's not cheap. The gas is not cheap. Well, it should be cheap, but the dollar went down to 70 cents, so the gas is still expensive because you ain't got, your dollar don't go nowhere. I pledge allegiance to the gag. That's the police department's Constable Crooks. He's like they're monitoring me right now with one thumb up his arse and another one in his mouth. And it makes a great blindfold too. I believe in free speech for anyone who can afford it. And when you get hit with a SLAPP judicial version, like this is friggin' 4 court appearances, and the next one is going to be for like 5 or 6 days if they actually take it to trial. But they, at any time during the trial, they can say, we withdraw. So just before the trial is over, they say, we withdraw, Your Honor, and there's no verdict. But they chewed up all that time and all that money. That's the game, right? And if you go read through the SLAPP over Wikipedia, you'll see all kinds of examples of that in Canada and other countries. And, you know, you got to look at political libel, how to use that. That's the same thing, right? So this was a inbreeding from UVic's law school. These are the worst of the worst. These are the people that engineered it to protect the law school and their jobs down there and to murder everybody on the coastline by not telling them get out of the way, not giving them the option. By keeping their own families there, not telling their own families, because they're afraid that their own families will find me and watch and learn. And then they'll realize how evil their loved ones at UVic Law School and UVic itself really are. The security down there, what was his name? Tom Downey from UVic Security. He took it up on himself to censor me. This is a power-tripping monkey that got a badge through administration, not legislation, who has no fucking authority whatsoever. Zero. He has to call the police to get someone arrested. He has fucking no authority, and this little prick was down there fucking me over too. You fucking bag of shit. You stupid monkey. You insignificant nobody. You useless sack of shit. Yeah, you. From UVic Law School. And security down there. I slap you. I get coming up when I get enough donations. You're all going to get slapped. Trust me. Every fucking one of you. Because at some point, people are going to wake up and realize what you've done to me. I'm going to get the money I need to come after you. You're fucking done. I'm legally going to own everything you fucking got. I won't give it up till I got everything you got. Free speech. You can have all you want, buddy. I'll give you every opportunity. But I can guarantee you, your reign of fucking terror upon Canadians is coming to the light. And Canadians, not me, but Canadians are going to fucking deal with you soon. When you find out what you've done. I guarantee it. You're not getting away with it. You're almost getting away with it. Had it been anybody else, you would have beat them to fucking death with what you got done to me. But you can't do it to me. You got to come kill me. And you guys are cowards. You guys are fucking cowards in every sense of the word. What you got done to me. You're an abomination to the humans, to the humanity. You got fucking 4 million species missing in the Pacific Ocean, and you're coming after me so no one can know any better. So you can keep your little stupid, insignificant, mindless, mass murdering job for a little bit longer. So your loved ones won't really find out for a little bit longer what kind of real monster you actually, soulless, heartless monsters you people are. And how you lied to everybody and told them to eat the food when there's fucking cancer in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years for just eating it once. No, I'll go ahead and eat it. It's okay. It's like a banana. That's going to come back. It's not my fault you lied. It's not my fault that you tried to get away with it. But it's my fault I didn't try harder to expose you. I'm guilty of not trying harder. That's all I'm guilty of. And I can guarantee you I will work it non-stop to rectify that. I will never feel that I have that flaw that I still feel I didn't try hard enough to wake Canadians up. That's why we're back after having my computer destroyed, hacked, and then a couple of days later getting arrested and getting out of jail and having my site knocked down with illegal strikes without a court order. And how the fucking court order showed since the beginning of 2014, were relentlessly stalking me on a fishing expedition, constantly trying to get something to stick. And they came out with a SLAPP lawsuit version, judicial, to get me. And I had to take down 300 of my presentations. So I wouldn't do the documentary on the Fukushima expeditions for life. Right? Talk about slick. I'm not withdrawing my comment for anybody on the planet. Because it's the truth. Because I didn't do nothing wrong. Because I'm the fucking good guy. You're not a human. You don't act like a human. You don't sound like a human. You don't respond like a human. You respond like a criminal. 100% criminal. You got zero. You tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. You said nothing showed up. It showed up long before you even existed in the game. Headline after headline after headline after headline in Canada. Yeah, hang on. It's just so deceptive and so deceitful and so malicious what they got done to us. Post-Fukushima horror, severe impacts of oceanic environment and unpredictable amount of damage to the Pacific. Well, we went out and showed it. We fucking went out there in the Zodiac, 250,000 miles, and the whole coastline is stripped. Instead of looking like that, everything is missing. There was nothing there for the fucking birds to eat. These are pre-Fukushima, post-Fukushima pictures. What do you really need for evidence anyway? But the whole coastline looked like that at one time. Now it's all like this. We documented with over 200,000 pictures. The majority of them are up at the nuclearproctologist.org, right? It's up at the nuclearproctologist.org. Coastline is stripped. Instead of looking like an extremely 5,600 resident. But what that means is that with all those species there being missing throughout that whole coastline of Canada, the other 4 million species didn't recede the coastline. It's an extinction event. They're exterminating us. And UVic and Woods Hole is in charge of keeping you in the dark. And the only way they can do that is by coming out and using these vicious, violent, thuggery tactics against the opposition that they think of us as opposition. Stalking me from day one. Calling the hotels along the way and telling them I was a beggar and that I was lying, that I was doing nothing. It's all up at the nuclear proctologist. All the documentation. We show the whole coastline is stripped. They never once went into the shoreline. They told people not to get any kelp in the samples. How come? Because kelp aggregates radiation. Let me keep going here. Oh, missed it somewhere. Got no idea where I'm supposed to be. Hang on. It's a serious international environmental issue because the whole Pacific Ocean is now extinct. The 4 million species didn't show up and recede the coastline of Canada. I'm not sure what that really means because that's never happened before. We've never had an extinction event in the Bronze Age or this age at all. Continuous input, that was 2013. So So fish are way up the food chain. Whales are way up the food chain. But all the whales, all the birds, all the mammals that are dying, they all starved to death. The little birds, the mass die-offs of the little birds along the coastline, they were eating the pods and the crustaceans that eat the phytoplankton. And there was none of it in their stomach whatsoever. They had starved to death. They were checked for toxins. They were checked for mercury. They were checked for parasites. They were checked for illnesses. And they were perfectly healthy, except they starved to death. And they starved to death because the phytoplankton, the krill, the anchovies, the sardines, the squid, the herring is all missing. This is why UVic is coming after me. This is why UVic is insisting that they got to get rid of me and use these frivolous lawsuits. Now, the Globe and Mail come out and demonized me and said I was accused of death threats. Even though he told me. He watched my video. And my video, right away I state I was charged with criminal harassment. Big difference. Big difference. So if I pleaded guilty, they let me off probation, but I'm not allowed to talk about the 2 nuclear pukes. If I go to court, I can get 10 years in jail. So I'm going to court. They don't know where Fukushima's melted cores are or in what state. It's important to think of the worst case scenario. And it is, because we just showed you the documentation. You can look at it yourself at the nuclearproctologist.org. And these studies got GPS coordinates, pictures of those areas so other people can go there. I can get back there in the future maybe, who knows. The bird species along the coastline, the 148 residential, 168, 69 migratory known species of birds. We counted only 11 species in 260 days and 15,000 miles plus of the coastline. And we went ashore up to 6 to 10 islands every day with the little Zodiac. We got on the beach and we got that documentation. We're producing a documentary right now. I'm doing all the write-up for it. I'm frazzled and worn out and burnt out and demoralized in every sense of the word, but happy to be in the fight, happy to be getting closer to getting that documentary. They're happy to be out, getting ready to go out and do presentations in communities. And I'm just going to go ahead and do all that because I got no options. That has to get done because we know they're censoring us online. And that is only through the power of the people and many that they can't censor us all, that the word will finally go out there. And that has to be done, but that costs a lot of money. I have to book all these places and pay for that in advance. And so I got to raise a lot of money to do the things I got to do. And I'll do that some way or another. I'm not sure when, but at some point in the near future that will happen. And then I'll be on that path. At the same time, if I can raise enough, I can earn enough through those presentations, we can pay back everybody that contributed, and we can do many other great things at the same time with that money. Everything that I do make for the presentations will be going back to pay back everybody for all the donations. And because I think that's important. If they want to donate it back after that, that's up to them. I'll accept it. But to that point is something that I want to do. I want to give back what was done to me. That I was given a special gift to go out and for 260 days and find the truth. And I didn't have to come back until I was finished. And I wasn't finished for 260 days. It took me 260 days before I said, okay, we got the whole coastline done. It's all gone. That's documented. And there is nobody on the planet can tell us, or me, certainly, any different. It can't be done, because I went out and done it. So now I know. And so that's why I work as hard and as long and as often and with such compassion, because I get it. I got 14,000 hours underwater in both the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. That before I even started working underwater, I had 30,000 hooks. That I come from a history of the ocean and living in Mother Nature. That I grew up in an environment where there was no supermarkets. If you didn't shoot it, you didn't have something to eat. If you didn't catch it, you didn't have anything to eat. And that you wouldn't get more than what you needed to sustain yourself anyway at any given time, because you didn't have deep fridges and everything else. But I come from a world that's very in touch with the environment. So I went up on a hill and I seen 10 part reach. I only shoot 2 of them. And you know, it's that kind of routine where you would never exterminate an area, but we're being exterminated, and we're being lied, manipulated, and deceived by just a handful of operations, mostly nuclear PR firms, but the majorities are from universities. So the University of Victoria has a lot to lose, because if they uncover the perpetrator, the ones that came after me, under the guise of legalese, right? You can't even criticize the two public speakers on the planet. And they couldn't. The only way they could do it to me was with this dirty, low, scumbag, SLAPP version of a judicial court. And so everything that they seek to do with a SLAPP lawsuit was done to me. Every aspect of it. Everything. You go to E&E News and read the comments there, you'll see how people are using my arrest to silence others. It was used right away, those techniques. My cigarette don't have 7,000 chemicals. So you got to learn about stuff like that before you demonize people. Not everybody's smoking 7,000 chemicals. Statement by Canadian officials indicate Fukushima contamination was detected in fissure levels that are difficult to explain without undue alarm. September 8, 2013. How many atoms does it take to get cancer? 1. You put 2 million atoms on the head of a needle, you can't see it. That's 2 million cancers distributed out. Cancer takes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years to manifest normally. But there's 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies can show up before that. Alzheimer's, dementia, autism passed on to your loved ones, heart, respiratory, liver, lung, breast cancers, brain cancers, or problems can show up long before the cancers. TEPCO, they just keep pumping it into, it's a dirty bomb every 1,440 minutes a day till the end of time. Chernobyl only lasted 10 days. You still can't eat the meat or drink the milk or sell the land in Ireland, Scotland, and UK. That's a long way from Ukraine. Sweden only opened up their fishing industry 2 years ago because of Chernobyl 28 years ago. Fukushima, the jet stream comes right here. Fukushima, the oceans, 45 days straight to your coastline. The coastline of Canada is kept warm by the currents from Japan. And the direct water from Japan. It's a direct path. 45 days. Not to mention the rain picking up through evaporation, convection, and bringing it here in 10,000 square miles, made out there every day, brought in on our continent, and that all washes back down to your coastlines, through your communities, into your water reservoirs, into your children's playgrounds and toys. You were supposed to be evacuated like the Chechnya River. You evacuated 7,500 communities, 9,000 square miles permanently evacuated for a lot less radiation than what we're dealing with. It's never going to stop coming at us. It was a stupid amount that came through. Each of the reactors in Japan made Chernobyl look like a candlestick. All of them together is an extinction event. But it wasn't just that. Hang on. Let me just touch upon a couple more subjects. Let me get rid of this and that and do a few other things. I get it right quick here. Hang on. I just want you people to understand. 15 reactors. 15 reactors. 15 reactors. So this chart I'm going to show you. I got a better one, hang on. Each of those squares are where people died. 560, 76, 198 from the tsunami. And so when the tsunami comes in and hits the plant, right, it takes out the power. And after every minute, it loses an inch. But after about an hour and a half, it starts melting down. You can never stop it. After about 11 hours, the water is gone. They couldn't get water in there because the whole infrastructure of the entire country was wrecked. And if you don't understand what that means, just hang on a second. I got a picture here. Will help you wrap your mind around that and come to terms with that. In a second, if I can find my way back. So the tsunami's like that, see? So when you're looking at that map, Well, you see all those red arrows or red dots. That's what happened there. That's why they died, because that came through their area. And so, where all those arrows are to, there was around 16 nuclear power plants. Right? There were around 16 nuclear power plants. But anyway, I guess that's it. Dana had a cigarette. Everybody run away. Think about 4 buildings, right? 4 of these buildings. 4 of those created 9 million. Just in Fukushima Prefecture, 9 million. Not from the nuclear power plant around the plant. No, from all around Fukushima Prefecture. Digging up the topsoil that was contaminated. 9 million bags. 9+ million. 10,000 different dumps. From 4 buildings. From 4 buildings. And so that is why they came after me with a strategic lawsuit against public participation in a version of judicial, which is the courts. And so they burdened me with up to 10 years in jail. I'll learn to play poker really good probably, but I'm not giving up what I'm doing. Because what I'm telling you and showing you and teaching you and trying to help you understand and come to terms with is really bad, is devastating. And let me get rid of that picture there for everybody. Is devastating. Has killed the Pacific Ocean and will kill all of us at some point in the near future, and has killed most of the mammals, marine animals on the coastline itself, and the birds and the spiders on all the islands for 260 days, right through summer. There was no spider webs. And the ones I did find were deformed. And they didn't find birds in all the trees on the 26,000 islands, or any of the islands. And only 3D anchors in 260 days. 3D anchorages that I set up anchor into had a couple of birds in it with me. And 11 species throughout the whole coastline. And I feared to go out there and do a species count right now. I wouldn't find the 11 species, I'm sure. Hugs for everybody. Lori. Good night, Lori. And Janie, Abraham. Strontium Mike. Jan Brooks. Even the earthworms contaminated miles away from the reactors. That's right, Jan. Good one. And that's Jan from Miss Milky Clown 1. And we love Jan. She's a sweetheart. And we send hugs for her and Warren. Mickey, L. Smith, Gabriel, Treewolf, Joel Kane, Just Cruising, Lori again, because we don't get a chance to say hi to Lori. Mervyn, France, hi France. Yeah, hugs for everybody. Terry, hi Terry Ann. And I'm probably not going to get through everybody, so Elaine Amthurst. Oh, who else? We got your Pam. We were rocking on the comments tonight. Smoking through them all. Chuck, Amthurst, Strontium, Nip Killer, Shanigan. Good night, everybody. I'll catch everybody soon. I need a couple of days to recover from the trip down there. I'm worn out. And I don't stop here anyway what I'm doing. I'm working on the documentary at the same time. I'm trying to get my mind to settle down before I head back down. It looks like the trial, not confirmed, but it should be jabbed. February the 10th. February the 10th, next month. And so I'm going to need funding. It takes 7 days for me to get it in my bank account. That's only a couple of weeks away. And so you can donate at thenuclearproctologist.org. And you can also donate with credit cards there, rather. And you can go to PayPal and type in dana.durnford@hotmail.com. You donate that way. It's really easy to set up an account. And we do need your support. But also, that's the reason that we were able to do the things we're doing, is because I can get a lot of mileage out of what we raise. And they better hope I never get the break I need. Because I'm going to have their asses at some point in the future. Even if I got to sell everything I got, At some point in the future, I'm going to have to do it to take these people and take them down. And I look forward to the day when I can say the two names that anybody else can say, except for Dana. Hugs for everybody. We'll catch everybody soon. Take care, folks.